Hello, welcome. So today we're going to build a geode cluster canvas with resin. In the video, I'm figuring out where I want to lay out my crystal clusters. And I have crystal quartz points in the middle of the canvas that I'm going to make a crystal cluster with. To do this, all you need is a hot glue gun and the crystal points. And then you glue them directly to the canvas in a circular fashion. Make it as big or as small as you want. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I build until I'm happy with the look of it. There I move on to laying out the glass and other crystals that I use. For this part, the blue I'm using is a blue fire glass. Then I add in crystal quartz, dark blue glass tips, and different sparkles and rhinestones to make sure that it's quite shimmery and sparkly when it's all done. The building of the clusters it's time consuming if you're doing it, and if you're not happy with the look of it, move it around, start again. There is no wrong way to do this, as I said. Now I am adding hot glue around the stones as I'm building kind of like a big wall. This will help keep the resin separated once the glue is dry, use a paint pen, be it oil or acrylic, and paint the entire glue strands, lines, until you're satisfied. I used a silver chrome finish acrylic paint marker for this, and I had to do a couple of different layers to get the look I was going for. Now I am showing the resin that I'm going to use for right now, and all I'm going to end up doing is drizzling a little bit of resin over all of the stones. So tomorrow, when I go back to do more work on it, the stones will be stuck and they're not going to be wiggling around. This is advisable to do. It helps keep everything where you want it. To drizzle, all you have to do is literally dip your stick in the tiny cup of resin and just let it run off the craft stick, popsicle stick, whatever stick you're using. I don't suggest free pouring for this part because you'll flood your stones and the smaller ones will start floating and then it won't have the look you're going for. Next, I am going to be free pouring a little bit of sparkle resin around the glue line. This just adds a little bit of twinkle. I just like the way it looks. It's not necessary by any means though. And at this point, I'm just going around making sure the resin is touching the glue so I don't have any gaps. A lot of this work ends up being very tedious and time-consuming. As you can see, I have all my resin cups. This is the next day now, and I'm going to lay out my first layer of color. So to do this, you just have all of your cups ready, all the colors that you're using. I like a Spring brand personally. They're thick, they're rich, they're beautiful. And you just lay it out in the shape of your geode. Pour until you're happy with the thickness of the line and just keep layering it up. As I go, I push up with my craft stick to make sure everything's connected. And then I move on to the next layer. For this project, I used Mainspring makeup powders. I used Pacific Blue, Opulent Tanzanite, Silver Linen, Turquoise Blue, and the Dazzling Diamonds. Now I'm adding texture. So again, I'm just drizzling. I dip the craft stick into the resin, get a thin line, and run it across. You can keep the same colors together, or you can mix up the colors. I like to mix them up. But even if you put the same color of a drizzled line on top of the base color, you will add texture to it. It gives it a nice look. Depth. And I'm torching to get rid of bubbles, because as everybody knows who does resin, bubbles are the enemy. We are on day number 3 now, or 4, and I'm going to be doing out a second layer. It's kind of hard to see on the video, but it's not very dark in person. So a lot of it was thin. I had to add a second layer to darken it up. Again, I just go through the exact same routine, lay out the layers, make sure everything's touching and connected the way it's supposed to be, or how I would like it to be. And again, I will end up going over it and adding the texture together. I have intentionally left 2 areas with just a single layer, because this also adds depth and texture. Here I am painting around the top of the canvas with metallic blue acrylic paint to add more depth and prettiness to it. And I'm adding more crystals and more fiberglass to add a little bit more texture to it. And here I am laying out a clear coat to hold everything down. And this is the finished product. They're really pretty easy to make. They are time consuming. It took 5 days in total for this one to be made. The same steps I used for this one, I used to make that one as well. Hope you enjoyed.